Okay, hi everybody. We're now on page 36 and 37. Our first really big piece. This is even more than one page. Eine Kleine Nachtmusik. You may not know this piece by name, but I bet when you hear it, you will recognize it. The words, if you know German, mean a little night music. And someone even wrote a whole Broadway musical called A Little Night Music based on the idea of Mozart's piece. We have a new marking here. It says allegro at the top of the piece. Allegro literally means happy or lively. So it's a quick tempo marking. And tempo markings are usually found at the beginning of the piece, right above the grand staff in piano music. And they're really important to notice because it'll tell you not how you're going to practice the piece, because you're going to practice it slowly until you can play that tempo. But it gives you your ultimate goal of how the piece should sound. So ultimately, this is a lively, fast piece. So first, I'm just going to play it for you, and then we'll break it down and take a look at it together. So I'm going to play it allegro. Okay, so that's the fast allegro version of it. And now we're going to take a look at it. And I want you to notice that your right hand is in C position, but the left hand is back in our middle C position. This might be the last piece, I think, that we're in the middle C position. The good news is that we don't have chords in this piece, so it's not going to be quite as challenging of having to coordinate the hands together. But the melody does dip back and forth between treble and bass staves. So make sure you notice, like, don't skip a bass clef note because you're not looking broad enough in your range of vision. So get into your middle C position. And let's take a look at the first line. Make sure you're tracking up and down wherever the melody may go. So C, and left hand starts on finger 4 on a G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, G, C. 2, 3, G, C, G. Now up in thirds, E, G, 2, 3, rest. Now here is F or finger 4. If you want to take a moment, grab your pencil and put a 4. That might be helpful. Here we go. 4, down a third. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Left hand on the B and left hand on the G. Okay, third line is going to be quieter. Middle C, ready, and rest. Right hand goes to left, B, B, rest, D, F, down to the B. So don't forget to keep looking to the bass clef. Measure 14. It's just repeating. And this repeats also. And now over to the next page, measure 17. Let's play this. Tell me if we've played this already. 1, 2, 3. Remember, it's forte. Is there any other line in the piece that reminds you a lot of this last line? And hopefully you're all saying, yeah, the first line is a lot like that. It's not identical because it doesn't end the same. The last note's a little different. But otherwise it is the same. So a nice thing to do is to mark the form of your piece so that you can get used to how to practice it, to break it down into sections. So I would call that first line A. And I would call that last line A1 because it's almost identical, but just a little bit different. Maybe circle the last note because that's what's giving it the A1 designation. What about the second line at measure 5? Is it same or different than anything that has happened so far? Different, right? So you could call that B if you want. And then measure 9, is different again. So that would be C. Now, as you go down to measure 14, notice that's just all similar. It's repeating. See, 14. That's the same as what we just had in measure 10 and 11. And then that's also the same as measure 12. So I would just call that whole part C, just for our purposes. This is for musicians' practice purposes, so that you can say, okay, the C part's my hardest part, maybe. It may or may not be, but it actually often is. People forget to go down to the left hand. But notice that the left hand only plays a B in that entire section. So it's finger 2. That might help you a lot if you notice that. Okay, so I would take it one section at a time and work over each section until you can get it, accurate, and then put them all together.